backed out of it. It's possible Tucker got bad information. It's possible that plans just changed or whatever, but the thing did come a couple weeks later, so it does at least seem like there was something that might have been, accurate about it. But
About the site. I can't expect you to actually care, but try to be respectful at least.
Oh, hey, do you need anything? Keep that safe. There are just way too many ways art can get to us.
Condiments are not currency. Stop trying to pay import packets.
Someone broke into the East Wing storage rooms. Not sure what's left. Check for yourself.
New visitors, waiters, up the lid. Doors are open. Launching now.
Let's go to the scrapyard. Rounds near the scrapyards.
money here. If you spot
Go to
one
the
of the
scrapyard.
surveyors, try to stun it before you engage. They're said to be full of rare architects, so we might both come out of this ahead.
I've no idea. Wrecked vehicles.
Let's head home at the Red Lake balcony lift.
An Ark orbiter is en route. The safe window is closing. You have 10 minutes to return to Speranza. I repeat, 10 minutes.
In the market, you've got the look of someone who actually pulled it off. Huh. I have to admit, I didn't expect much to be left. Maybe people missed these, or maybe they didn't care. It's not what I'm looking for, but I appreciate it. I'll make sure they're looked after properly. Someone has been lifting supplies from my drop-off point in Buried City. I've set up a trap, but I need someone to check it for me. Good. Stake out the area. Catch them in the act, or track them back to where they're stashing my goods.
Back during the first wave, my squad and I built a trap out by the dam, overloaded a generator, turned it into a makeshift arc trap. Now I hear raiders are using it to cut comms and spring ambushes on each other. I need you to end it. Head out there and kill the power, pull the plug, do whatever it takes to shut it down. That trap was built to keep us safe, not for us to use against each other.
There's no one at the bar counter. Please use the sanctuary table.
Maintenance is short-staffed. If your lights flicker, we are not coming.
Could be a rival arms dealer from Toledo poking around my cache. Keep your wits about you, just in case.
You're not lost, are you? Just detouring?
Style experience. And so in a sick way, the thing that interests me the most, and then they're using screenshots of like Counter-Strike because they're trying to say like, oh dude, this is going to be really great for esports, or you know, the motion clarity is really great for the demand of esports. And so they had screenshots and still images of CS2 and stuff like that. And looking at the clarity enhancement of, like, I'm looking at Digital Foundry's story over at digitalfoundry.net, and they've got some of the images from the NVIDIA stuff here. And I got to tell you, the motion clarity enhancement with Pulsar turned on, it does not look super awesome. Oh, but this is off-screen photography, so you know it's sort of a weird. They're taking pictures of a screen that's never going to translate well anyway. But the thing that interests me about G-Sync Pulsar is actually just running old video games on it and seeing what type of level of motion clarity you can get out of NES games and all of that sort of stuff. That's what the RetroArch implementation of that stuff is kind of designed for, right? Is like, hey, you know, you can play, you can emulate games and get something that is a little closer to that CRT experience that people are chasing so dramatically. And with a high hertz refresh rate on a monitor, you can start to insert those black frames and start to, you know, you can do those things to do what you know, to get it there. That's something I need to mess with. The last time I messed with it was like the week that all of that came out and was added to RetroArch, and I couldn't make it work. But maybe some of that stuff has been refined a little bit since then. It would not be something I could stream, because when you start streaming stuff that has all that filter on it, it looks fucked. So, but for me, in my spare time, maybe I could turn some of that stuff on. So G-Sync Pulsar seems interesting, but not to me, not for the reasons that they say it's interesting. The idea that I'm like, oh yes, I need the power of esports. We need to do this. And, you know, a few other announcements around machine learning intensive. So this is they're going to launch a beta test for Total War Pharaoh that will add an AI advisor as an RTX exclusive beta test in 2026. That will cost you 6 gigs of VRAM to run in the background. So hopefully you have a card with enough RAM on it to do both. And NVIDIA ACE is designed to be like a locally run AI model, with the idea being like, oh, it's an assistant that can run in games and all of this other stuff. And so an AI advisor inside of Total War Pharaoh, it sounds like a beta. Sounds like the sort of thing you would do for a beta, but I don't, whatever. And that's largely it for kind of the gaming focused stuff. The dynamic frame generation stuff is going to hit in the spring, so that's not part of this this beta rollout. The stuff that can go up to 6x and kind of dynamically adjust as needed. That is something that is not ready today. But the other stuff is, if you opt into that beta, I would be curious to see some more testing done with some of this stuff, because like I said, my experience with Call of Duty is that DLSS 4.5 is notably worse than 4.0 or whatever the previous version was. So that is clearly not what they are aiming for. So I don't know. I don't know what if this is something that's going to get better in a week's time, or what the heck is happening there. But in my experience, the shits. Let's take another ad break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the return of the JogCon. Finally. It's a brand new year, and you've got big goals. But, that doesn't leave a lot of time for other stuff. Do you not have time to cook? Hey, Factor makes it easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs so you can eat well without the shopping or the cooking. Those Factor meals have quality, functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. There's no refined sugars or artificial sweeteners or refined seed oils, They got meals that fit your goals and your schedule. Healthier eating, calorie management, more protein, and so on and so forth. They've got 100 rotating weekly meals. They've got options including high protein, calorie smart, a Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support, and new ready-to-eat salads. Plus, they've got a new Muscle Pro collection supporting strength and recovery. So if you're working out and you need something to eat after the fact, hey, Muscle Pro might be right up your alley. They got these great juices. They sent out with the last order. They sent along some of these nice pressed juices that they do. It's just fantastic. Nice to have a selection of them in the fridge. You can just grab one and go. And making the meals super easy. They're ready in about 2 minutes. They arrive fresh. They're not frozen off your first Factor box. Plus free breakfast for $1 that they're making, and they're making some other stuff now too. And GameSir seems like it is kind of risen into that space quite well over the last chunk of time. I have not used any of GameSir's products, but I've heard a lot of good things. They have a new one coming along here. The Verge reported on this. This is something that I guess got announced ahead of CES, and they are potentially showing it there. It is something called the Swift Drive controller, and it is it's a video game controller for video games. The catch is that it's got a fat wheel in the middle, just like Namco's JogCon for the PlayStation. It will have some sort of force feedback on the wheel itself. It has this in lieu of a second analog stick from the looks of things. It's got a left analog and then, face buttons and shoulders. It will have force feedback in the triggers as well. But it does have what GameSir is referring to as the world's smallest direct drive motor for force feedback in your driving games. This is really cool. If you don't remember, the Namco JogCon is a PlayStation 1 controller that was released alongside Ridge Racer Type 4, good old R4.
Yeah, it's amazing. On one hand,
it's basically
I'm getting
standard shaped size
YouTube
controller,
videos,
but with a fat wheel in the middle that you would jog and shuttle back and forth like the wheel on a VCR. That's why it was called the JogCon.
And, oh my God, the horror, controversy, moral outrage, and then in the very same, as I scroll down, I'm getting shit for young love awaits.
Feedback as you were driving. R4 I always want to go back and play Ridge
Like,
Racer
what
Type 4
the
because
fuck?
it is such a
And
cool
it's
fucking
some
game.
18,
The
19 year
visual
old looking
style
girl
is
sitting there
unmatched in
with
a
her
lot of ways.
legs
Just an incredible
crossed, on her
vibe
cleavage hanging
game in
out.
terms of the soundtrack and the look and all of that other
Which
stuff.
way are you
But
wanting me to go here,
I played
dude?
that game with the JogCon.
I
And I loved it.
was like,
The
America,
JogCon was
man.
so
Right
fucking
there.
cool.
That's the perfect example.
The JogCon, like, actually, in a lot of ways, R4 is the first Ridge Racer game that I did really, really well at. Previous to that, I'd never understood what Ridge Racer was expecting of me as a driver.
Dang it.
How the drifts and slides worked and how, you know, the way all of that stuff is meant to be played. And so, you know, playing through Rage Racer, you know, like I would do fine, you know, I could eventually, you know, win the races and do what I needed to do. But generally speaking, I was using the grip cars because the drifting just, the way you were supposed to drift in Ridge Racer didn't make a lot of sense to me. There are two games that made Ridge Racer make sense to me in a way that made me appreciate the older games in the series in an entirely new way and also set the stage for me to appreciate everything they would do afterwards. And it is R4 and it is Ridge Racer 64. The N64 version of Ridge Racer. Because I remember going up to Nintendo and them showing Ridge Racer 64 and they were like, by the way, there's other stuff you can do in this game. You know, like we kind of, you know, we did some crazy stuff to the drifting and you know, and check this out. And they were doing 360 spins around corners.
Oh, yeah, you think this sausage
spinning
is bad?
the
You think
opposite
the
way of the
bologna is
curve.
bad?
And I'm like looking at this going, what the fuck are these people doing? And then when I played Ridge Racer 64, I could do that. And I was like, oh, like something about all of that knowledge just clicked into place for me with their wild drift stuff. And all of that made me understand every other game in the Ridge Racer franchise so much better.
And everything in the
R4,
fridge
same
was
type deal.
bad.
Like being able to play it with a wheel and the force feedback and everything else, like helped me lock in the concepts. Because Ridge Racer is a roller coaster. It's not a fucking driving game. Your car is like, especially around corners, your car is locked on a track, man. You lose traction on purpose and it just does the rest for you. It just goes whoop and whips you around the corner. And then your job is to get pointed straight again so you can apply acceleration and go. I was trying to drive it for the longest time like it was an actual car. Stupid me. What a fucking idiot. And R4 was one of the games that really helped lock that in for me. And so for me, the JogCon is an essential part of that experience. And it's made it so every time I pick R4 back up, I'm just like, this isn't really doing it for me. And I realized why. It's because I need to find my JogCon, pull it out and hook it up and see, you know, and see if I can get it all working again. The Swift Drive from GameSir has definitely a similar look to it, but it is designed for modern racing games. You know, it is the idea being, you know, you're not going to buy a racing wheel. Who the fuck has room in their life for a racing wheel? Not you. Absolutely not. Why would you do that? What are you going to bolt a steering wheel to your desk? No. If you are, GameSir is also going to make something called the Turbo Drive. That is a racing wheel of sorts that actually looks kind of awesome, but don't. No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna buy a racing wheel, but a controller that has a wheel in it. That seems kind of cool.
Hello, my name is Alexander Yermak. Until 2022, I was a musician, and now I am a soldier. In this war, I meet the best people of my life, brave ones. We defend freedom like no one else, using brains, innovation, and technologies. This first aid kit will save the lives of our soldiers, and we will continue our fight.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It is not out yet. I don't believe that they have. It doesn't look like they've confirmed price or availability for the Swift Drive. But it's got a Hall effect encoder in it, according to this Verge article, and so you know it's a lot of the kind of modern technologies being used in some of these off-brand controllers that people are really well made, and and applying it to this kind of like racing wheel sort of thing. And I think that sounds fucking awesome. So I'm very interested to kind of get a look at this thing. But I doubt it's going to be something that you're going to want to, you know, maybe, you know, if you can make some emulator adjustments and do what you need to do, maybe you could get this in a way that it mimics the JogCon's kind of specific sensibilities. But I doubt it's going to be something that you're going to pick up and go, hell yeah, let's play some R4. But if, you know, if you play a lot of driving games on a controller anyway, this seems like maybe an interesting way to go for some of that stuff here.
What's going on in there?
It has, you know, some of these mock-ups are like the look at the controller. It looks like it has a left analog stick, face buttons, standard triggers, and then it almost looks like it has two laptop nubs kind of on either side of the steering wheel. Maybe that's meant for like paddle shifting. Maybe those are buttons. I don't know I don't think the article gets into. Yeah, I don't think the article itself gets into what those buttons are for. And yeah, I'd be curious to know if it free spins. Like, can I play Kaboom with this really well? Because, you know, can you play Arkanoid with it? Will it work well in that type of paddle game or what have you? Like, that would be really great too, because those are kind of hard. That's a hard thing to do. I had to buy a crazy multi-$100 custom controller when I wanted to play Arkanoid on the Mister, and I don't think that guy makes those anymore. But that thing's a brick. That thing's a tank of a controller. Anyway, GameSir has that coming out. We haven't really. I don't believe they've announced any proper availability or what have you for it, but it's a promising looking weird thing. I'm not really into weird thing controllers. Like my needs on a controller are mainly going to be around, you know, kind of normal gamepad layouts or things that are fighting game appropriate. That's kind of the where I'm at with that stuff. And so I don't need a lot of other stuff, and I don't want a lot of clutter in my life when it comes to controllers. At the same time, this being just a gamepad style thing that has a fat wheel on it, I really want to get a look at this thing and try it out for myself. It looks neato. And so that's kind of the stuff in and around CES. You know, Sony and Honda showed the car they're supposedly working on, and, you know, they're taking pre-orders on a car that's supposed to ship at the end of this year that, you know, you can remote play PlayStation games in it if you want to. Like, okay, fine. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, I guess, man. I got an invite like 6 months ago or something. They had that car in LA somewhere, and they're like, "Do you want to come see this car?" And I was like, I should probably should I go see the car? I did not have time to go see the car, so I ended up not seeing the car. But they have been trying to, you know, show that car to video game people for a year or more now. They had it last CES. But they said, like, oh, it's going to have like different themes for the dashboard and the instrument cluster and stuff, and so you can have Astrobot sound effects inside your car while you're driving it, which sounds fucking heinous. It sounds like a disaster. It sounds like a real distracting fucking thing. And I don't know that I can get behind that conceptually. The other thing I saw, and maybe this is not a big a deal, car stereos with Dolby Atmos support for spatial audio inside your car. Seems dangerous to me, just conceptually, the idea of spatial audio inside a car where you're trying to hear the things around you, and like, oh, we were listening to it, you know, I put on this Dolby Atmos mix of this 50 Cent mixtape, and there's all this gunfire, and I'm trying to drive a car, and all of it sounds like it's coming from behind me on the right side, and I did this, and I swerved this. I don't know, it just seems, I don't know. Yeah, yes, the Dolby Atmos fucking version of 2003 era 50 Cent mixtape. Why aren't people making Atmos mixes of the things that matter? That's what I say. But I don't know, like, what do you know, people are going to watch movies in their car, and then, while they're driving, they're going to rig it up, because people always do, because people fucking suck. And they're going to be like, I'm watching The Rock while I'm driving my car. And then the audio of the sounds of The Rock was like, oh, whoops, we watched Heat while we were driving. And then the bank robbery scene came on and I crashed my car. I don't know, it seems.
At Vistaprint, we print signs so people can see your brand up close. But we also print signs so that people can see your business here, see it here, and see it here, so you stand out, even when they're way back here. Get 15% off signs and banners at Vistaprint.com.
What's the secret to peak health? Going micro with Noom. Micro habits, micro wins, even microdose GLP-1s. Now starting at just $99.
Micro? I can do micro.
With Noom, we all can!
And it's designed to minimize side effects and give me real weight loss? Yes, please.
I'm doing it. I'm going micro.
Heck yeah!
Now starting at just $99. Get started at Noom.com.
Seems like a fucking bad idea to me, man. But I don't know. All cars drive themselves now anyway, right? So what's the big deal? What's the big deal, right? Self-driving vehicles, the wave of the future. It's not the wave of the future, the wave of the now, right? So whatever, man. I don't know. Watch find your full 7.2 mixes of 80s porn films and get to work, man. And by that, I mean have the car drive you to work on your morning commute. Enjoy your adult films in the car the way you were meant to, spatially. What are we even talking about? I don't even know anymore. The Polaris list has been issued and updated. This is if you go to polarisgamedesign.com, you can learn more about this. It is a weekend retreat for people who work in game design, and it's mostly kind of built as some sort of nonprofit, like trade organization style stuff. Like, game designers get together and compare notes and talk about the trials and tribulations of doing their thing and all of that. And that's valuable, especially in some, you get to some of these more esoteric job titles. Not that game design is like this massively esoteric thing, but it's primarily a retreat around like a very specific style of job, and people get together and probably leave recharged with new ideas about how to tackle issues and so on. Anyway, they decided to get to some of their members together here. How they describe their organization is Polaris is a nonprofit committed to improving and refining the art and craft of game design. And in order to get a snapshot of current game design thinking and reference points, they wondered, what do working game designers talk about? What games do game designers reference behind closed doors? So they surveyed 167 professional game designers and asked them, what are the top 10 games that most influenced or inspired you as a game designer in any order? And so those designers submitted 10 games, and they built a list of the what I guess you could say are, I guess the top 100 most influential or inspirational video games, according to this subset of game designers. And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing here. It's a wide-ranging list. I'm not going to read the whole list, or maybe I'll read the whole list. I don't know. Number one is Portal, which I think is kind of an interesting one. And this led to some discussion. There, some of the discussion around this list that popped up on Blue Sky was people saying like, well, Portal, why would it be Portal and not Doom? And why would it be this and not that? Is it because Portal is more recent than this? And I think to me, the answer is relatively simple. Is that, games are multifaceted, especially a game like Portal. A game like Portal is more than just a first-person puzzle game, right? It is the writing. It is the style of writing. It is the way that it shows its puzzles to players, the visual language it develops over the course of its runtime, the audio that helps with that, the way that game comes together. To me, like, you know, it's the sort of thing that I think the games that are in the top 10 here, I look at and go like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that a bunch of game designers would look at these games and say, these are the games. I'll read the top 10 here. Number 10, Outer Wilds. Number 9, Minecraft. Number 8, Spelunky. Number 7, Deus Ex. Which they have some quotes to go along with it here. Tom Francis gave a quote. Gunpoint started as an attempt to make a simplified 2D Deus Ex. So, yeah. At number 6 is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. At number 5 is Slay the Spire. At number 4 is Shadow of the Colossus. At number 3 is Dwarf Fortress. At number 2 is Civilization. And at number 1 is Portal. I think that makes a ton of sense. You know, when we think about the things that something like, you know, like Dwarf Fortress is a great example of, like, you know, that game feels like a game designer's dream because those guys went off and did the thing. They're like, we're going to design the hell out of this in a way, like, we're going to account for all of these different things, like things that, you know, modern games at you know, the modern expenses that it costs to make a AAA video game and the time crunch and all this other stuff. People are never going to be able to do that, you know. But everyone looked at that and looked at the mechanics and the way that stuff went and go like, man, that's amazing.
Want to ring in the new year with style and serious savings? Let me show you. Ashley has hot buys starting at just $2.99 during their New Year's sale. I got this sofa, and honestly, what a find. Just $6.49. Shop Ashley today.
Now at Whataburger, you can get the new Big Ranch Wrap for $3, 5 premium wadded chicken bites for $4, or a bacon cheese Whataburger Jr. for $5. Add fries and a drink for a little more. Now that's a Whata deal at Whataburger. Download the app.
Got it, Mom.
You got it?
She got it, dude. Yeah. She got it.
And so I think that in terms of, you know, again, people that are working in game design, what are the games that they think of and go like, oh man, like what are the games that maybe influenced them as they are working through the problems they're working through while they're making the games that they make? I think a ton of that makes sense. And I think something like Deus Ex makes a ton of sense in terms of like being an early example of a systems game. Like that's a game that, you know, I think if you looked at Deus Ex with a certain lens, a lens that might say, I'm going to go on to be a game designer, Deus Ex seems like the sort of game that you would look at and go like, oh yeah. It's showing you things that you might not have considered were possible within the space of video games, right? Dwarf Fortress, kind of the same deal. I think Breath of the Wild, I think fits something, you know, fits something very similar here in terms of that. The quotes here, I think, are fascinating here. Pam Punzelin says, influenced the way I understood how to design narratives and characters, along with teaching me techniques for building specific atmospheres for my players, or how to craft emotionally meaningful moments. You know, when you think about Breath of the Wild,
you just love rich people. They can do whatever the fuck.
You know, the size and the scope of that world. I think it's very easy to write Breath of the Wild off as like it's a physics thing. It's, you know, they sat down and made a survival game out of Zelda. They perverted the Zelda concept into this other thing. And I think that a lot of that stuff.
They're gonna take our fucking water, bro.
It makes a ton of sense. When it comes to like, you know, games that are happening recently that are influencing you right now, you know, if you were a game designer answering this question, like what are the games that are influencing you right now? You're not going to pick Doom all the time, but you might still pick Civ. You might still pick Dwarf Fortress. You might still pick Deus Ex. You might still pick Minecraft and Spelunky. You know, these games are somewhat older.
And yeah, that's
because those things are games are, you know, things that are doing things with systems or doing things to kind of facilitate storytelling. Like Shadow of the Colossus makes a ton of sense for a lot of different reasons, right? The quote from Max Nichols here, and then they the Polaris game design people say that they are going to be posting more of the kind of quotes and things from people who responded over the coming months. And so I think that's kind of interesting to hear kind of
rich people
working as game designers discuss this
they're
stuff.
Almost
because,
untouchable
they're looking
here.
at this
I don't mean that in a bad way, but there's
obviously
just this worship thing
in a very
with wealth
different way
around
than
here.
you or I, as people
I
that
don't
are
know if
playing
it's almost
games,
like an Old
are looking at
Testament
them, right?
religion style thing, like
And so
wealth
Max Nichols had
makes
this to say about
right.
Shadow of the Colossus. There's many lessons
Like
to take from
if
this
they're
game, but the ones that
rich,
really
that
stuck with
means
me
they're
were
right, dude.
how it created feelings of awe and wonder, the way it used negative space in
But
pacing,
it is.
storytelling, and
It's thick
space,
here.
and the
It's
sheer sense of
really, really
scale it
thick here.
achieved. I
Like
think that
they
makes a lot of
equate
sense. You know,
money
that's something
with
that even as someone who
morality with with
does
being
not much care
right.
for Shadow
So
of the Colossus, like that is something I can look at and go, yeah, that
fuck,
makes an
man.
absolute ton of
Okay.
sense. Like when you think
Here
about
we
the
go,
things
I'm
that
sure.
Shadow of the Colossus does really well, and the things that at the time
I'm sure building
seemed like
nuclear
crazy.
reactors in our front yard
Like,
will
I
be
can't
just
believe this
fucking
game
great
is
for us,
doing
but
this,
yet they
and the
don't
way
live here.
not just that it's big,
But
the
it's
way you
cool.
interact with these the colossi,
You
the way
notice
you
they
interact
don't
with them,
live
the way you
next to
climb
the
them,
steel
the way they're presented
plants,
on screen,
dude.
the way they create these moments to make these
But
already big
yeah,
things seem somehow
okay,
even larger
fuck, man, no, just
and
weird shit,
daunting.
dude.
I
They're
think a
not
lot of that
drinking
stuff
the
is
same water we
really important.
drink. They're not breathing the
It's not
same
so. It's
air
not
we
just like
fucking
systems
breathe.
games,
But
you know. It's not just like but
okay,
obviously,
dude.
you know,
I'm
Spelunky and
sure it'll
Slay the
all be
Spire.
okay. I'm
You
sure
look at those and go,
they're
yeah,
great
I totally
people.
understand. If you want to read here's the rest of the list. Why not?
I'm sure they're
At
good.
number
I'm sure
11,
they're good
Half-Life. Number
people that
12,
have our best
XCOM.
interests at heart. I'm sure.
13 is
You know,
Journey. 14, the original Legend of Zelda. 15 is NetHack.
because you know they're rich. They got
16 is
money,
Mario
dude.
64. 17 is Thief.
That's
18 is
true here,
Eco.
dude.
19 is
Money equals
Morrowind.
right.
20, the
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. I'm going to stop reading the numbers. We're at 20, it's World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Star Control 2, Pirates,
I mean, I
Dark
guess you can't
Souls,
be an
What Remains
open
of Edith
drug
Finch,
dealer or
FTL, Papers, Please, Lode
but pretty
Runner,
close. Like
Super Mario Brothers, Sim City. At 30 is A Link to the Past, Chrono Trigger, Diablo, Final Fantasy VII, StarCraft, The Sims, Warcraft 3, Half-Life 2, Rogue, Tetris. At number 40 is Ultima 4, Super Metroid, Fallout, Metal Gear
you
Solid,
don't even know why
Planescape
they're
Torment,
building them.
which you just
You
knew
don't
was going to end up on here. I don't know if
even
you've
know what they're going
talked
to
to any
use.
game
Nobody
designers
does.
ever,
What the fuck do
but
they
you
need
know
all that
Planescape
shit
Torment
for?
is going to end up on that list.
So,
Is that old washer and dryer set acting up, or your refrigerator making funny noises? Well,
for
now's the
Skynet,
time to trade in at
who
Home
knows?
Appliance Warehouse and get up to $100 trade in
So-
on your old appliance.
At 45 is GTA 3. At 46 is Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, the Trump
47
thing just
Katamari
freaked me out
Damacy.
because it was like
Mass
it
Effect,
took
The Walking
years
Dead. At
to
number 50 is
convince a
Kentucky Route
certain group
Zero.
of people to
80
accept
Days, The
Trump.
Return of the Obra Dinn,
But it's
Zork,
true. Once they do
Elite,
accept
Lemmings,
somebody,
Doom is at
like they
56.
stay loyal
Ultima
for a
Online is
long.
at
It takes a
57.
lot to get
That
them
makes a ton of
to
sense.
change
Ocarina
their
of
mind.
Time, Super Smash Brothers. At number 60 is
Even people
Diablo
like my
2.
dad, he wasn't,
Majora's Mask at
you know,
61.
super
Metroid
Trump from the
Prime,
get-go. I don't think, or
Bioshock,
super great.
Braid,
Like he was still a
Civ
pretty
5, Fortnite at 66,
establishment
Disco
Republican
Elysium,
type guy. But
Mule,
Yeah.
yeah,
something in it.
Starflight, another like of course, yes,
Yeah.
game designers
No,
of a
or
certain
Your dad is
age, I
Trump,
suppose.
dude.
He's an anti-Democrat.
Dungeon Masters at
Yeah.
number
So
70,
yeah,
Super Mario
it's,
Brothers
I
3,
don't know
Quest
what
for
happened
Glory,
to all those people, dude.
Super Mario
They just
World, The Secret
it
of
was,
Monkey
and it's
Island,
not just
SimCity
anti-Democrat, but
2000,
like
Final
rabid.
Fantasy
They
6,
went like rabid to where it
Pokemon, like first
doesn't.
gen, like red,
They'll
blue, yellow.
justify anything.
EverQuest
It
is at number
doesn't matter
78,
any
Animal
like.
Crossing at 79, Rez at 80.
I don't know that he's like a.
I feel like
It's all
games would be a lot
political. Sorry
cooler
to
if
interrupt.
Rez was a lot higher than
There's
80
no. It's
on
just
that list.
their side, our side. Their side, our side.
Battlefield
But, like, I
1942
don't
at
think he's
81,
like
Wind Waker at
a
82,
super
Team
Trump
Fortress
guy,
2,
but
Fallen
it's
London,
just like
Portal
anything
2 at
that's wrong,
85,
it's them Democrats.
Elder
And
Scroll
anything that's
Skyrim
right is
at
Republican.
86,
You're
Crusader
talking.
I'm
Kings
like, I
2,
don't
Dear
think that's the
Esther,
way it works.
I mean,
Dishonored,
it's
Caves
they're
of
both fucking
Cud,
I was
everything
like,
up.
did you
Undertale
listen to
at
nothing my
91,
mother said her
Inside, Stardew
Like, no,
Valley,
that they're both fucked
Night in the
up.
Woods,
Like,
Space
no, it's
Invaders at
not one or they're
95,
the
It's not
same
one or the
thing.
other, dude.
King's
It's
Quest
rich and
at
poor.
96,
That's really
Lords
it.
of Midnight
Like,
at
so I
97,
don't know this
Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Democrat
Galaxy at
Republican thing.
98,
But yeah, they
Pool of
did
Radiance at
something to it.
99,
But it
and
was
Wing
years of it
Commander
working them
at
up,
number
working them up. And
100.
they probably did
Um,
January 6th on purpose, just to
and
work
so,
people
yeah,
up even more. So that
Neurokim says,
Trump
where
could
the
have
fuck is
this
EVE
core
Online?
base that wouldn't
Just because the
desert him when
game
he
is
did
big and
crazy
crazy
ass
doesn't
shit.
mean it's influential, right?
Like
You
invade
know?
another
Like,
country and capture its
what do
leader.
you take away from EVE Online? Like maybe games
without
would be different
any
if EVE Online was on this list, right?
real provocation,
And again, if
or
you
any
if you
real
somehow turned this podcast on in the middle of me reading this list, this
no
comes to us
national.
from
He didn't do
Polaris, which is
anything to
a
our
game design
military. He
retreat.
didn't
They
do
were
anything
able
to
to
our
ask a bunch of
citizens in
working
it,
game
but
designers, what are the top 10 games that most influenced or inspired you as a game designer in any order? And so they didn't ask for, they're not asking for the
those
best
oil
games.
guys
They're
must have got
asking
their
for the
ass
games
kicked
that
down there.
influenced
That's what
them as
happened.
designers.
Something.
And so obviously that's going to be a very different list
And that makes them mad as fuck when
than,
they can't keep
hey, what's your
control
favorite
through
video
their
game or whatever.
terrorism
And I think that's
intimidate and all that.
that's part of what makes this really
gotta
interesting.
call in
Hitchhiker's
Uncle
Guide to the
Sam to
Galaxy is
fucking
not
help 'em.
necessarily a game I would expect to see on this list. If you're not
And they
familiar, it's a
drag us
text
all
adventure
into
game,
this
much like
shit,
Zork.
dude.
Also from Infocom, makers of Zork, but it is based on the Douglas Adams book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
No, straight.
And it
Well,
has a
some of my
real
babies, where we
wild
at?
approach to
I got a
puzzle
baby.
solving,
Yeah,
and it both connects to and diverges from the book
And we weren't
in
super
pretty
productive.
fascinating ways.
We're gonna,
And at the time for a text adventure, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was kind of fucking nuts.
Yeah. He was looking cute.
I think a lot of these games you would expect to see. They make a lot of sense, right? That and again, this is because it's what's influential to you. That could be something released last week.
like early 8 o'clock.
You go like, man, I saw this thing in this game, and no other game is doing this, and it's. I think that this is really incredible, and so I think that's why you see some newer games on here alongside older ones, and I think that's
awkward, and she
really neat to see as
time
well.
to wake up, Dad.
Because a lot of different eras of gaming are represented on this list.
Because it's almost like not awkward, but she wants to be
which is
sad
sensible.
almost,
You're going to have people of a lot of different ages and what have you. Like it makes sense that Lode Runner is on this list in terms of like an influential game design.
You know what I mean? And she's awake.
That said, I don't know that I see a lot of Lode Runner's influence appearing on modern video gaming.
And I just kind of wake up and she's.
But there are things about the way Lode Runner does business that you look at and go like, yeah, I don't know. These are some of the core building blocks of video games. And so it makes sense that some game designers would still have that in the back of their head, knocking around one way or the other.
I kind of wake up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Time to get up, Dad. All right.
Obviously the storytelling and things that Half-Life 2 did, were a very big deal at the time, and it makes sense that would be an incredibly influential game.
So,
along with Rogue, along with Tetris, and some of these influences are probably direct and some are very indirect, right? Like if you look at Breath of the Wild, there's probably a lot of applicable things to design today, which that game's not that old.
Into quite the little Sydney / Samantha
that you could look at and go like, oh, here's like an interesting way to tackle this sort of problem, or here's a systems-based solution to a thing, as more and more games go for that kind of systems-based thing. Like I think it makes a ton of sense to for that game to have made the list. And games like Spelunky and stuff, I feel like are self-evident. You just go like, oh yeah, of course. Of course, game designers would be thinking about some of those pure design, in a lot of ways. Slay the Spire is a great, and I don't especially like Slay the Spire, but I think it's like you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, when we think about games and the types of things that they're trying to put in here. Scott Brody had this to say about Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire captures a ton of game systems into one cohesive package that I reference often. Simple roguelike structure, card game balance, and design expandability, and done without a huge breadth of content. It's a very like Slay the Spire is a very tight, effective package, and
I turn on the TV for her.
And
then I halfway doze back off, and then I wake up again, and she's watching
So yeah, I found that to be a pretty
It's
interesting
led her
list.
to that weird shit again.
Again, I
Where
think it
it's the
shows
grown-ups in
like the types of games on
costumes,
this list. I think says
and
that
they're not
they
even
attracted
talking. It's
a
that
pretty
weird dubbed
wide range of designers across a lot of
soundtrack,
different age groups.
whatever.
They also have a list
And
of the
there's
people
no
who
kids in the
participated
video at all,
in
dude.
the list, and it's just
And
to
they look
pluck out a
like they're
couple of
from like
names
Eastern
that we
Europe
have
or
heard
something.
before.
Anyways,
Brendan
it
Chung
was,
is on here. Brenda
and so I got
Romero,
onto her. I was like, baby,
Derek
no,
Yu
you can't watch
is
these.
on here.
I was like, there are no kids in it. I was like, they're not talking.
Tom Francis is on here. Tanya Short is on here.
There are
Sam
no
Barlow
kids
is
in
on
it,
here,
and there are
so
adults
it's,
in
Ref Coster is on here.
dress
Rodney's
up.
on here.
I was like, no.
Megan
Anyways,
Fox is on here. You know,
and then she got all sad, and she didn't cry, but little tears started welling up in her
interesting
eyes.
range of
So I had to be like,
respondents.
no, baby, you're not in trouble. You're
And
not in
I hope
trouble.
they,
But no,
they
you just
mentioned kind of
can't.
like,
You
maybe
can't
blowing
watch
this up
this
and doing
stuff.
a little bit more.
It's like if YouTube's gonna send you here every time
reach a
after
wider
ad
range of
lead,
people the next time they do the list. I think it's
like,
it's a fascinating.
That's why I started.
It's a fascinating list. They also did a
It
series
just
collapsed
happened
version of
too
it.
many
Since
times.
what
So that's
the.
why I just started
I
going
would
to
say that
these
like
live.
Diablo and
oh,
Diablo
we
2 are
will.
fairly different
No, I
things.
just
I almost did too, and she wants to watch
And you can
YouTube, and I
learn
don't
different
mind
things
ad
from each
lead.
game just because
I've gotten
Diablo
used to
2
it
does
now. It's
more
just a
with
family
online
playing with,
stuff
and yeah,
or
it's
what
not
have you,
real.
No.
That's the only bad
and
thing
so
is
I
them
think
thinking
they
that's
did a
real
series collapsed
life,
version that
and it's not.
when you
It's people who
collapse
get
all
paid
of
to
the
stay home and
votes
play with their kids
for
all
all
day.
of the different
Yeah.
games, like the
So
series collapsed version of the list, the top 10 is
But
Zelda,
yeah.
Mario, Civ,
So
Final
no,
Fantasy,
I just.
Portal,
That's why I
Elder
made
Scrolls,
that
Half-Life,
call.
Ultima,
That
Dwarf
I was
Fortress, and
just
Shadow
like,
of the
no,
Colossus.
I'm
It's
not.
no,
pretty
It's
interesting.
literally every single time, and it's a pretty short
When you
amount of time.
collapse it
yeah.
that
Like I
specific
can
way.
turn it on in less
The
than 10
Metroid,
minutes
I'm gonna go
before
back there and check in
it's
1
on
minute.
some weird
She put it
show.
on
because
there for
Metroid
about
Prime is
15
such a
minutes. I'm gonna go back there and check.
It's on some weird
different
show,
thing.
and so I stopped taking her to YouTube, and I just told her no
Sony's got
YouTube.
a patent
She
out
even
there.
knows if I'm turning on the TV.
And
Yeah.
you know, hey, these
She'll
companies
take it
file a
to
lot of
Disney
patents. This
Plus.
doesn't
No
necessarily mean
shit.
Yeah,
anything's
because
being
she already
worked on
knows. I'm like,
directly.
no, I'm not
They filed
doing
a
it.
patent according to videogameschronicle.com.
Build the wall. Put
Basically,
up
the
the
idea being
wall.
that you could, if you got stuck in a game, you could turn on
wall.
like a ghost player, an AI generated solution in a couple of different modes. One where a ghost, basically it takes over the game and shows you the solution, and another one where it just goes ahead and plays the thing for you and gets you past a certain point that you're stuck in. I think I think is a sensible. Players get stuck, and sometimes they just turn a game off. And it's really sometimes these things that get players stuck is relatively small. And so, like, what if you got over this hump and moved forward? The PlayStation 5 has this idea of this game hint system built in. Where they tried to do these context appropriate videos where, like, if you get stuck in a game, they could go like, oh, there's a video here you can watch if you want to see it. But like, even though they opened that up to, hey, you can contribute your own videos to this process, like they tried to make that a little bit more friendly because developers were not doing the work themselves to create those videos.
I'm not saying art.
But even still, even in light of that, so few games have the hints
how
in
else?
there.
How else can you
And
defend
a
yourself
lot
in
of
this
that
world?
stuff is not,
Besides
I don't know, it's a little
being
clunky,
childlike.
a little bit. So,
No.
you know, an updated version of that concept that's just like, hey, I'm stuck.
Well, if I
What the
don't get
fuck do I
hurt,
do? And it can
what the
go,
fuck else
here's
is supposed
exactly
to
where
do,
you're
dude?
stuck, how you're stuck.
Like, no, except
and
become
here's how
like
you
a
get
monk.
past it.
Like,
I think is actually like a good idea.
Just try to get the
I think
fuck
that
out of the way,
solving that
dude.
problem by training AI on footage of games
Try to
seems
stay
like an
healthy,
incredibly
What the fuck
inefficient
else are you supposed to
way
do?
to solve that problem.
Poor kids.
That to
I don't
me,
even know
you
what
know,
they're thinking,
the
dude.
benefit of that is that
I
you're
don't even know what
potentially
they think
creating
about
a
the
universal
future or what they're
solution that can work
doing,
for
or
any game. And then from there, of course,
I
you
don't
would
even
turn
know
on
anymore,
safeguards that
dude.
would,
Like,
you
what do
know,
you
prevent you from
guys?
enabling this stuff in a
But maybe
multiplayer
that's what
game
they felt
and
about
whatever.
us.
But like,
That's what maybe the kids aren't thinking at
the
all. They're just Hollow
it
Knight,
feels like this is something that you would
Bloodborne. Like,
just
what the
create
fuck
as
are
a
you even talking?
mode in your game
Like,
because
no, they
again, you're
cheer the
going to want
next
something
slot
that's very
machine.
custom. You're going to want
Oh, the
something
next
that works
slot
in
machine.
steps so as
Whoa,
to not
whoa,
spoil the entire
hey,
game for someone
hooray,
when they
or
want to
what
just get
the
over the
fuck,
next
or
little
the
hump.
next art. I don't. But like, they
And kind
don't
of work
talk
that
about
way. So I don't
any.
know,
I
something that
don't.
is generic, that is designed to kind of work with
Yeah, I
any
don't
game,
know.
I think is,
We're just
again,
gonna drift. I guess the
not an
I don't know.
ideal
Anyway, who
implementation of this
knows?
kind of concept.
Who knows? What is the? I don't.
And so, you know, this is, you know,
They just talk
the
about making
Microsoft
money.
version of this right now is the Copilot stuff where you can
Like, there might
basically
be
ask a chatbot about a game. I don't think that that's an especially robust solution
I
to
don't think
this
there's any
either.
like movement or
And so,
any
yeah, I don't know. It's a
community or
weird.
any.
It's a weird thing.
I'm sure that's all been purposely
I
dismantled.
think the Microsoft solution is like
There's
grotesque
no.
and like shitty.
Yeah.
In my
What
limited
are-
experience with it
don't know
before, I was
what
like, oh,
we're
this thing
doing.
fucking sucks, dude. Why do I?
Well,
This
at least
doesn't
we
do.
thought. Like,
So
I
the thing
thought,
I'll say about the
well, yeah,
PlayStation
end
solution is that I
hunger
feel
and
like it actually is the sort of
homelessness.
thing that
Educate
done
everybody. That was
properly,
liberal. That was what they're. That was we were
could
all
get people
liberal.
over a hump.
That's all
'Cause they're like,
evil.
oh
That's
shit,
all.
this is, you know, I'm stuck here.
Yeah, we
I
were.
need to get past
But
this,
no, that shit
and
all
let
got
people
torn
finish
down.
games.
So now we're gonna go
To
to
me,
what,
that
some
is the important
cowboy
thing.
crazy
And I think that there are a
future?
lot of different ways to go about this that, you know,
Nobody
you
fucking
wouldn't need to
knows,
deploy a
dude.
bunch of fucking AI and training models and all this other stuff to do. I think there are ways to build, you know, we've seen games do it
What,
with different
fight
like
drones
accessibility
against
options of just
drone?
like, fuck it,
What
man,
the
dog mode,
fuck?
you know, or hey,
No,
you know,
nobody
you're
even
gonna
know.
let you
Like,
turn the
rich
difficulty
people
way
should
down
be
so that
more
you can definitely get
educated
past
than that.
those.
What, you're
The
gonna.
catch is when you're
So
stuck
you're
on a
literally
puzzle and
gonna
you
go
can't figure out the solution
backwards.
to a puzzle. And that's where
What,
we
we
get
gonna
these
gas
terrible
each
solutions
other?
that modern games have tried where
I
like,
know, and
boy, the kid in God of
purposeful,
War
but
sure does solve all this shit before you
in the
can, or
kid's
oh man,
defense,
Aloy sure does fucking talk a
I
lot.
would
Like
say,
Sony's first party stuff
you
attempts
know,
at helping players by having a
they've
sidekick
grown up
character
on the
or what have
internet,
you,
and
I think has been
we already know it's either
way
it
less than
feeds
ideal
your
itself.
personal algorithm or
And so I don't know.
tendencies, or
There's
even when
something
you
to
go
the
to
idea
even
of
try to
just like, hey,
find
just, you know, take
information on stuff, just like that, you're gonna get literally the they're gonna tell you apple cider vinegar is great, and then they're gonna tell you that, oh no, that's bullshit, and it's not medically, been tested. Yeah. So the kids are completely fucking confused, and then, they've got Generation X and above that are trying to say shit, but then you've got the internet countering that shit. And so, like, no, so I mean, that's what I mean, in their defense, they're probably genuinely fucking confused and don't really know what to believe. But we're not too far from that. I get to a point sometimes when I'm looking at stuff, be like, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, I have tried every which way to try to get down to the bottom of some kind of actual fact and truth, and I can't. So expect them
About
to.
the smallest
When
shit too
about the
sometimes.
smallest shit, and,
Yep.
and they're about fucking fly traps, bro, and the best weed killer, and
Yeah.
then they're 20 years younger than me, so like
Yeah.
I can't blame them. And so to some degree, I think you have, yeah, the ones that are like, well, I just don't know what to do. Like, I guess I get a job and
I
I just
guess.
because what else?
Yep.
Like, I mean, I could sit here in misery and depression and in gridlock, but what good's that gonna do?
But I guess
So,
that's when the I don't mean that bad, but that's when the people without a inner monologue survive.
well, yeah, they don't
Those are the
have.
one that just do what they're fucking told from A to B to C. You know what I mean? To
Oh, she's calling me.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta pick up the trash. Mama, help!
Stop. I'm the fucking.
What? I was going that way.
Call Dad.
I was going that
Mom,
way.
right?
I was taking up the trash. Why is he calling me? What? Why do you want me to? Is that awesome? Yeah, I turned it off. It was already connected. Yeah. Hold on. We'll turn it off. Turn it back on. Let me try it.
Watch the snippy snap.
I'm getting water. Where's Bluey at?
I guess Bluey's LOFT?
I don't know. Did you take Bluey to J Lane's?
No, I have literally have not seen it in forever.
Yeah, me either. Yeah. Yeah, Bluey's in the cabinet.
Or maybe Kelly?
Huh?
Change.
Change.
I kind of like my little cups then. Alright, let me
Change.
just.
What?
You go do your dive with your dad. It's not
Okay. Kelly's house. Kelly's. You say, Kelly? What are you gonna give me? Paint?
No.
What's that? What was that? The
Yes, baby.
Mark is very. Did I tell you this was his computer?
Mm-hmm.
My mom bought it for him. I don't know if she bought it for him brand new, but yeah, this is the one. Remember, he did it. Yeah. Remember?
Okay.
But yeah, it's really.
$100
100 million, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I need some
Mm-hmm.
money.
Here you go. 100 million. Large one. What are you?
I'll take the 5 too.
125 too. Okay,
I can money.
okay, there you go. 125.
Yeah, but then I'm out.
Pretend I'm out.
Yeah.
Out of money.
Yeah.
Ooh, what?
25.
100 million and 25. Five, huh? Oh, careful.
I need money.
You need money? Okay, hold on. Oh, I don't have money.
That is the money.
No money. Hold on. Let me see if I can find some. I know. Here. There's some money.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a super lot of money.
It is a lot of money, Dad. I got to put this in my calculator.
Yeah, but it's worth a lot of money. Yes.
That's it.
What? You need change?
Change backwards.
You do need to give me change back. 24?
100 million 24.
100 million 24.
Yeah. Some money.
Yeah, you do. Go get some money.
But then you don't have money.
I don't have no money.
That is your money.
Where's my money?
You have to find money.
Oh, I have to find money? I don't know where it's at. Oh, you're trying to manipulate me, huh? Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to make me find more money?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, it's manipulating me. What? I know, don't lose it. Well, not really. It's plastic metal. Yep. Whatever the fuck they're making those quarters out of now. That feels funny. Like those cheap tokens from the arcade. Yeah, give me my change back. No, that's enough real money. You got to give me change back. Yeah.
Controls for me.
Yes.
PlayStation take the wheel. And okay, I didn't see that there was a button there that I needed to hit, or I couldn't figure out the pattern here that I needed to do. Cool. All right, I'm gonna
Yeah,
move
you
on
give
from
me
here.
change back.
Sure,
Has my
why
game
not?
been sitting here running the whole time?
I think that's a decent way to attack this sort of stuff. I would say generally Sony's first party stuff has not been difficult enough to need most of this, but hey, I've been playing games for a long time. When we think about systems that are like these that are put into place, I think players.
Okay, hey, you got to get beautiful though.
Shit on
I know you want to play with mom and dad, but it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
It's
you've been
almost
playing games
bedtime.
for a long time. A lot of people haven't, and
well, you better get it. Well, you
they
can.
would like to sell consoles to those people too.
Oh.
And so it makes sense to have convenient
No.
options for people
Where's Sydney at?
My moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms kept me out of the picture. Now I have Skyrizi.
Keeping my plans, I'm feeling free. Control of how you see means everything to me. Control is everything to me.
Now I'm back in the picture. Skyrizi helps deliver relief, repair, and remission in UC. Feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks, including fewer bowel movements and less bleeding. Skyrizi is proven to help visibly repair colon lining damage and help
Literally
people
right
achieve
in front
remission
of the
at 12
TV,
weeks
right
and
hand
1
side.
year.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for UC.
Take control of your UC.
So you can what?
Ask your gastroenterologist about Skyrizi.
Yeah, but she was crashed out.
Your one-stop shop for
And it's a
everything
thing.
outdoors. With hunting and fishing experts eager to guide you to the best brands.
Oh yeah, toys from Walmart with your money. Oh yeah, definitely go to Walmart.
And your one-stop for
The one
footwear
toy?
your size, your
Okay.
style, all yours to take home today.
Oh, one coin.
Shields is like no
One
place
toy
you've
for
ever
one
shopped
coin.
before. Shields. It's worth the trip every time.
Oh,
Come see us.
2 for 10, but you have one real one? Yeah.
Might not have the time to bang their heads
Yes,
against it, or the
you
patience to
could.
bang their heads against it, or
You could use your money to pay.
So I think something resembling this solution is not the worst thing in the world. Again, I do think that,
I have to go to work.
you know, using like trying to do this as like an AI
And you have-
solution and
really,
training an
doctors
AI
are-
model on footage of the
They
game.
gotta look at your monkey.
I was gonna say you should have taken off work for
Turns it
that.
into a blunt instrument in
Yeah.
some ways. You know, if you train it hard enough for long enough, I'm
Yeah.
sure you get the
I
results that
see
you're
it,
after. But
Jazzy.
like, wouldn't it be
I know, they're being
easier
really
if you just
stubborn.
mandated at least to your first party teams? I guess that's what, you know, they've seen what happens when they
gotta
try to
be
make a
better. I
system
don't
like the
know.
Game Hint system that requires work on the developer end. The work doesn't get done because they can't, you know, they don't feel good about requiring it and saying you must make hint videos for your game.
Yeah.
So to me, this is them
Maybe
trying
you
to
and
find
Dad
ways
have
to
the
take those
same
developers
gene.
out of the loop and say, fine,
Yeah.
we get it. You're
Come
busy.
on.
You're not going to make these videos. You're not going to make this hint content. We get it. So we're going to come up with a one-size-fits-all solution that will work for all of this stuff. I don't know. Like it seems like a very clumsy solution, but again, you know, developers have also already shown that they're not especially interested in doing that sort of work on their own. And why should they? You know, like adding more to their plate. They're already trying to get a game out the door in the first place. They're going to go like, oh, well, for the PlayStation version of the game, we want to create this extra content that we, you know, had to sit down and get someone to shoot a bunch of videos for of them getting through all the puzzles. And like, who the fuck has time for this? Also, we patched the game and these puzzles changed. So what do we do now? You know, like there's a lot of stuff there that it makes sense why developers just would not do anything with it. Either way, it's just a patent. There's no guarantee that this is something that would ever actually work well enough to be effective, to be put into a game. So who the hell knows? And that's it for the news. Well, okay, Anthem is shutting down. You've got less than a week to play Anthem. It shuts down on Monday, the 12th. I saw a story today saying that if you did not have Anthem installed, you are not able to install it anymore. So hopefully you were forward thinking enough to reinstall Anthem. I don't know if that's true on console or not. I know it is true on the. I believe it is true on the PC side of things. They haven't been selling it for a long time. But I do believe.
Yeah, that's right.
My understanding is that I
Yeah.
guess I could look here. Let's load the Electronic Arts app here on my personal computer.
But yeah, no, it's a thing.
Background
sometimes,
services
too.
have been
Playing
disabled,
their
preventing
bugs
the app
bad.
from
I don't
starting.
think
Turn
it's
on
just
EA
a big
background
bag.
services in the Windows Service
I
Manager
think
to
it's
fix the
her
issue
waiting
and
for
get back to
bugs
business.
bad.
Let's take an ad break while I go fucking dig around and figure out, because I did disable a bunch of fucking shitty services, and the EA fucking update service is probably one of them. Let's take an ad break, and then we'll come back and I'll have figured this fucking shit out.
Yeah, I love my son, and I get it. I do.
Are you tired of
I
wading
get
through the nightmare
But, come
that
on,
is
he's got his
researching
own
hair
room,
loss
his own bed.
online? Through HIMS, you can
No,
get
there's a lot
access
of
to
kids
clear
have a
solutions,
lot
expert
worse, dude.
guidance, and an online process that
lot
takes the
worse.
confusion out of care.
Yeah. I guess I
HIMS
should have
offers
known
convenient
better.
access to a range of prescription hair loss treatments with ingredients that work, including
But I was
chews,
thinking
oral
that.
medication, serums, and sprays. These are
It'd be
doctor-trusted
you know,
ingredients
parents
like
are naive.
finasteride,
Every
minoxidil,
parent, this
things that can stop further hair loss and
we talked
regrow
about
hair
our
in as little
kids
as 3
being
to 6
naive,
months.
but
You shouldn't
every
have to go
parent
out
is
of your way
naive.
So feel like
You
yourself.
think
HIMSS brings
fucking the
expert care
school's
straight
gonna
to you
raise your kids
with
for you. You think
100%
the
online
church will raise
access
your
to
kids.
personalized treatment
Ain't nobody
plans
gonna raise
that
your
put
kids
your
for
goals first.
you.
There's no hidden fees, no surprise costs, just real personalized care
Naive
on your schedule.
parents.
Hey, you think of HIMSS as like a digital front door of sorts that helps you get back to your old self with a simple
About
100%
rich
online
kids
access
around
to
here.
trusted treatment for real health concerns, all in one
You know,
place.
you like to think that you know kids from families that are more well off than you from a higher socioeconomic background would be good for your children, would be a positive influence. But around here, I don't think they are, dude. I'm starting to think, but then you think about it like, well, yeah, who picks on the poor kid? It's literally a trope. The fucking rich kids setting up the poor kids, bullying on the. Why did we believe that? But it was kind of sinking in more and more. I was like, I don't think those kids are a good influence on my son. And for a while, I believed they were. I thought they were. I assumed they were. It's the, fuck it. Both their fucking parents are doctors. They all live on a nice part of like. Well, and I don't know. And I think they were good for him at a certain time to have a friend group. Because I think that's when they were all geeks too. They were all, when you're young, money only gets you so far. You're still a fucking geek. Like, so, but yeah, as time goes by and they realize more and more the difference between them and everyone else and the schools they go to, and even that stuff. I was taking Bubs and Sis to way across town, what's that school called? Holland Hall. So yeah, and they start realizing, but then that's about the time. See, but that's about the time Sis stopped hanging out with those people and started hanging out with more normal people or just different people. She doesn't really hang out with those people. And yeah, they're younger. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I just don't know if they're a good influence on Bubs. So, but then at the same time, we're still lucky, dude. Considering, yeah, the that he's poor. He's a poor white kid with poor parents. I mean, we're like poor. Not just in, but yeah, we've struggled our whole lives, dude, to make it.
That's why it's like, maybe even it was like talking to Dave Lean did put it a little bit in perspective to a degree, where I was just like, all things equal, I was like, they both ended up not smoking, not on drugs, and not having sex or having babies before they're 18.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty fucking impressive.
that right there is good enough.
That's for our bracket,
For
for where we came from, dude.
What me and you struggled
The
through.
shithole, and not just the 70s and the 80s, and the dude,
But then even us personally, like from the beginning and through the army and the aftermath, the fucking mental struggle we went through,
So,
me, myself, and I having to come back up from the fucking ashes and be okay. But anyways, so all things considered, I was like,
they were at risk for a lot worse.
Yes, that would be my point.
That would be the point.
Yes.
Of like, yeah, you get pissy or you get, but no, dude, they were.
And so, Bubs dyeing his hair or even pretending to run, that's pretty mild in what we could be dealing with.
Yep.
Like, so I'm going to count myself lucky and be like, just like we talk about them, it could be a lot worse, dude.
Yep.
And then I have to say it to myself. It could be a lot worse,
Worse.
shit.
Mhm.
I've heard worse stories, you know.
Yep.
I was talking to Mr. Babcock because his son's grown now.
Ain't careful, I'm recording.
Oh,
Right.
but he was just saying, because then he was talking about him being a teenager and dyeing his hair blue
Yeah.
and then coming over or something, and he was like, Mr. Babcock, and he was like, okay, son, basically, like, I'm gonna need to know on a scale of 1 to 10 how serious we are about this. Because he's older too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no, I really need to know. Like, and then eventually it's like, no, Daddy, no, I'm not serious. I mean, and he's like, okay, I just, I need to get that out of the way first. Are we making a declaration? Or, because, like,
Yeah.
but not just kids that age. Like, no, you just like that. You're like, you don't know how far to push them. You
Yep.
don't know
Yep.
how serious it is. You don't want to end up with
Yep.
crazy, like,
Yep.
right.
So, but yeah, I grew up in the 80s in California, so
Mhm.
I know fucking kids, and I know crazy kids, and I know kids who went pretty far out, but never went too far out. No, even ran around with us, even ran around, but and dressed pretty crazy and listened to crazy music, but they ended up straight and narrow. They were just posers. That's all it is. So hopefully that's all our kid is.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think he wants to be. I thank God we didn't send him to public school, dude.
I was gonna say I was in between of being a poser and in between of taking it real. But I didn't take it far enough to not graduate with a diploma. I didn't
Mhm.
take it far enough to totally,
And in the end, we're fucking white trash, dude.
yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it. We're poor white people who are struggling to get by. That's where we come from. That's who our families are. That's who our families have been for I don't know how long, but yeah, we're poor people struggling to get by and just trying to improve generation by generation. And yeah, I think since World War II, it's been pretty tough on everybody, dude.
Mhm. Now, when you talk to people, that's what I mean. Like,
Everybody's family, everybody's kid, like,
that's why, like, I've learned to, talk to others and be halfway out, because when you do, like, over half of them have other pretty serious, no, just dealing with the same, and this is all economic background, all education levels, and like everybody has dealt
no,
with something
everybody's
similar,
family has been fucking,
yeah, or something worse,
yep.
or like, yeah. So,
Oh, I was thinking about the Mandy girl.
yeah,
Every time I
no.
like, and people trying to be in 40s something, right?
She was like 2 years younger than me. And
And,
so I was 45. She was like 43.
and then still getting locked out of somebody's house,
And
sleeping on the porch.
yeah, and not,
But then obviously didn't get in time or didn't
yeah,
call. Like,
and the only reason she was there is because stepdad wouldn't let her come live at their house with her
Right.
mom. Like, she couldn't go live at her mother's house.
which means that's got to be pretty bad. You're
And I
not.
think her mother might have let, but you know how they're doing
Yeah.
that. Who knows? I
Who
don't know.
knows? It might just be you
And she
can't
could
live
be,
here.
and she could be using him as an excuse. Like, I mean, you know how
Yep.
that goes.
Yep.
Like, but either way, she couldn't
Yep.
go live with her parents. And yeah, and talked about like, yeah, sleeping in a trash can, bro.
That's pretty rough, dude.
But Mia told me stories about sleeping in a dish,
Yep.
using cardboards to cover their asses up in the middle of December.
There's no one who'll take you in,
Because
dude.
there's nobody left that will take you in.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah, everybody's with through shit, dude. Everybody.
and everybody's family will be cut off. So,
It'll be all right.
mhm.
It'll be okay. I'm gonna call, talk to my dad.
Mm.
I hope he makes it till we go up there this summer. I hope everything's fine. So we go up there this summer and then we can just figure out, you know, what's going on. And I bet you he's got it all taken care of. Hopefully, what happens to somebody? What happens to an old person that doesn't have anybody?
I have no idea.
I mean, he's pretty sharp on his shit, you know what I mean, and all that, but I don't know either, dude. And then what happens if all of a sudden one day he can't take care of himself? But then maybe he's got it all set up. Maybe that's why he does, you know, he's always been smart. He's taken care of himself his whole life, dude.
But I do know,
Oh,
at least from,
he's paid his own fucking bills,
or
dude.
not do know, but like it seems like though some of them that do stay pretty spry and alert, you know,
Uh-huh.
past, you know, to 80, you know,
Yeah.
it's really past 80 is when it starts to get a little, but you know, I don't know. The only thing I would say is like sometimes though they don't realize fully that they aren't, you know.
That's what
That's
yeah.
the only, like my grandma Armstrong was like that.
Yeah.
You know, Betty was like that. We're like, yeah, like they don't like, yeah, they're not invalid, but at the same time, they're not recognizing that they're not firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that, yeah, they're dangerous behind the wheel, or and they think they're not. Like, that's, you know, they're spry enough that they think, you know, they're not thinking like an 80-year anyways. I don't know. That's the only thing that's the only thing I worry about with your dad because he is so spry.
Yeah.
That I'm worried that like he'll fall under that where like he doesn't realize he's slipping.
Yeah.
Like that, you know, and won't admit it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of it. They just don't want to admit
Admit
it,
it.
that like I'm fucking and I need help. Betty, I denied help until the day she died. Acting like they were all crazy trying to come over and get her to take her medicine, you know, like so.
Well, who knows?
So I don't know. That's the only thing I worry about with your dad. It's just not admitting it. So, and then getting hurt or, you know.
Yeah, I worry about something happening to where, like, yeah, he can't take care of himself, not financially, but whatever you want to say that, like, he can't take care of his business, or like he's forgetting things just mentally.
Yeah.
And well, then does he have everything set up to where he can go right into a home, and who's going to manage his finances? Who manages an old person's finances? Does he have a lawyer? That's all I'm worried about. And then I don't want that to dump into art because I have absolutely no idea how to do any of that, dude.
But see, that would be like Granny. Like, you know, Granny basically had it all set up. Didn't know at the time. But she had it all set up that upon her dying, everything was fucking taken care of with a lawyer. You know,
But and I'm not so worried much about his dying, but no, him not dying, but then not being able to take care of himself mentally, or both. What if it's physical and mental, and he like has to go into a home? Well, who the fuck's gonna pay for that? And I don't know how much money. I don't know. I don't know any of that. What the? Who's? Or what if he has a stroke? Well, I don't even know where his bank accounts are. I'm not saying that bad, but like, who pays for who takes care of him?
And now I don't know who that.
And maybe Paula. He's halfway stayed close. That was a step kid of his, literally a step kid. So, but then I don't know if he's not going to say anything. I really don't want to mention anything. And I've asked him halfway before, is like, is there anything I need to know or about your house or what? And you didn't want to talk about it. So I just assume hopefully he's got everything set up. I don't know about that with older people. What is there a company that does that? Is there a company he's hired to, in case I become debilitated? And maybe he does have a lawyer, and the lawyers will do it. And that's a thing lawyers do. They handle estates, not just estates, but they handle old people. They handle when they don't have anybody, when they don't have family. And so maybe he set something like that up already. But then I worry that he hasn't because he's just in full denial.
I don't know. It doesn't like be blunt about it. Be like, Dad, I really need it.
I just need to know what I need. Is there anything I need to know in case something happens to you?
Like you're getting older.
Yeah. And not just being older, but just, if something happens to you. And then I may not, if I don't need to worry about it, if you've got it all taken care of.
Then that's fine.
That's
I just want to
fine.
make sure, like, you.
But I'm pretty sure that's kind of what I asked him before. I go, okay. And maybe that's what I mean. My dad's a smart guy. My dad's taken care of himself his whole life, dude. So.
Oh, yeah. I may not be anything that worked out. And that's like that. I mean, I know stuff was weird, but then, like, that's the only thing I worry about, like, with your dad. Like, even similar with my grandma Wayne. He was a smart one. You would assume everything was taken care of.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't, yeah.
So that's what I mean. And I know there was other factors.
Yeah.
Like
but still.
it's the same thing. She owned a fucking farm. She was a smart woman. She had everything set up. So you would assume all her shit was all sealed up and set up for whether same thing. Yeah. She got to where she couldn't take care of herself. I think old people don't think about dying. Young people think about dying. Old people don't. Like my grand, she kept up with it to a certain extent, and then as she got older or whatever, then she stopped keeping up with it, and then it kind of all was half-assed there.
So I'm sure it'll be fine. I bet he does. I bet he's got a lawyer or some kind. That's what I mean. He's not stupid. He's not like me. I don't think he's just sitting in his house in denial.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he's got an emergency contact. But yeah, it's stuff that doesn't get talked about very often. What do older people that don't have family around?
I don't know.
There's got to be more than.
I'm sure there's something in place, but I don't know.
Now, when you're poor, it doesn't really matter. I guess you just die in the hospital and they. Well, who pays for your funeral?
Someone's got to. Someone's got to pay for the.
Well, if you're poor, I guess you don't give a fuck. You just die and. But most people ain't that poor. A lot of people are that poor, but. A lot of people are estranged from their kids. I don't know. But yeah, I bet you it's something people do. It's one of those things you don't realize, but people, advocates of some kind.
Yeah.
A state, yeah, because a state handler, so a lawyer.
Yeah, well, that was like.
But then if you're not up to it, like you said, the older they get, the less they keep up with it because they don't think about it. The older they get, the less.
Mhm.
You're right about 80-ish. Yeah, they're doing that shit when they're 60, 65. They got it all. But by the time they hit 75, they don't.
Well, that was like I told you, that was my uncle Dean that contacted me. You know what?
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
he's probably in his 60s.
See?
And the neighbor or whatever keeled over out of the blue.
Yep.
And then they were like, our shit's not all straight. And then
Yep.
he was like, I gotta get our shit straight, you know?
Yep,
And then
yep.
it was like, you know, contact me about being not the benefactor. There's a word for it. Executor.
Yep.
Executor, if something like him and Brandy, I
Mhm.
think if something happened to them, like they were in a plane crash or something,
Yeah.
you know, that I would take over as the executor.
Mm-hmm. So,
So that's the kind of shit people start to. But you're right, it's in their like 50s and 60s.
yeah.
Then
But
they
then
get
older and they stop thinking of
they
it, I think.
stop, like, yeah. My grandma, you could see all her shit was frozen after Julie died.
Yep.
After Julie, like everything was fine until Julie died.
Yeah.
And then
She was
he was
probably just
fucking
done.
frozen.
Yeah.
Like nothing changed. It
Yeah.
was like as if Aunt Julie was still alive. Like
Yeah.
no, nothing changed past Aunt Julie's death.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was all weird.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Oh.
she was probably in her 60s,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
70s, early 70s, maybe. I don't know how old.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it just all kind of stopped being taken care of. So I don't know.
I'm thinking that you really do. And I think especially if you stay halfway healthy, you become younger again.
Yeah.
When you get that, or if you make it to that old, you start becoming more childlike. You become a kid again.
No, you ain't thinking about that shit.
Mm-mm.
You ain't give two shits about that shit.
No. You're thinking about right or whatever, you just become a kid again.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I hope everything's fine till this summer. We would go up there, and I hope we have a good summer with them. Decent kids. I don't think we're gonna find out anything more. So I just hope he's got enough money to last till the end of his life. Like I said, he's a pretty smart guy. So I don't think he's ever leaving Jackson, Michigan. You know it's cold, but you're gonna come spend the end of your life in Oklahoma. He was even last year Christmas, I think, but he wasn't talking shit like that this time. How about maybe buying an apartment complex together? And then him living in the apartment complex, which was a halfway decent idea. 20 fucking years ago, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what he's trying to do. He's just to just die in his house. Yeah. I think everybody he knows is already gone anyways. I think he's that old. I bet you everyone he grew up with. No, yeah, that's his little brother.
That's his little brother. His younger brother's already dead.
Yeah. So
that's everyone. Seal that up.
Mm-hmm.
That's everybody.
There's a bunch of them. There's still people he ran around with. I knew it bothered him with one of the few guys I think that was maybe kind of his friend. So, but died. And that was like 20 years ago, dude. Because he was a black guy. So yeah, maybe around 7, but like yeah, Pete or something. But he died a while ago. So I think his friends died a while ago. Yeah, he's a hell of an optimist, dude. To the end. All the way to the end.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, just that's his generation though. That's the boomers. That's their I'd sell you used car. It was a used car. It was the salesman generation, dude. That was the boomers, man. They were Disney fanatics, bro. Disney kids. They grew up howdy doody. They were all howdy doody kids. All that shit. Radioactive frosted flake kid. DDG kids. They were the DD kids. Oh, like but yeah, all the way to the end. But that's the generation change.
A few lanterns are brighter. Don't ask how, just enjoy it.
And see, my Aunt Carol, she's still alive. And her husband's still alive. That's my grandma's older sister. I think the last time I talked to her, and this was like 10 years ago. But I remember she was telling me that like her and Jerry finally got to a point that they had to buy a house and they wanted a kid.
Oh yeah.
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 You know, they finally had to admit that they were getting old enough that they needed somebody nearby to help with certain things. You know, because they were like Grandma and Grandpa Jim. They traveled around in, you know, an RV for, I don't know, 20 years, or whatever it was, because they were doing the same thing they were.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I remember she said that. No, I can't remember where. Yeah. I do remember she said, never been small enough. No.
We need a church, man. Need a spaceman church. No, like, there's nothing wrong with trying to live while you're waiting for Jesus to come back. Like, right? Like, they keep calling you the fucking Antichrist, and like, wanting to do cool shit doesn't make you evil, dude. So, anyways, we'll see. But yeah. We just need to belong to a church that has like some fucking hope, dude. And every time you try to build anything, they just dump fucking goo on yeah, I know, dude. Okay, I know. Go crash. Go to sleep.
No, I
gotta turn this off. I'm not gonna play it.
Yeah.
I gotta turn this off and I'm not going to play it. It was good talking to you. What?
Don't be off.